Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. It's a big Tuesday, another loaded show to grow your bankroll. Jesse Schule is going to join us. I lost a bet to Jesse. He's going to give us two football teams to fade this week, and we're going to break down Grizzlies, Knicks. Bryan Power, asking a lot of Bryan. Warriors, Thunder, Kentucky, Louisville in college basketball, and the Spain game where we are gracious enough to send over Marcus Mariota versus Tua, and that should be an incredible breakdown. Carmine's going to jump on short notice. He's going to go over the TNT doubleheader, Leafs, Bruins, Ducks, Avs. Let's get it started with our theme of the day, and here's where I need help from the chat comment section, and I'm going to ask our guests if they have any opinions on this. What is a movie that is not very good, but that you love to watch? So there's a reason for this, and I'll tell you at the end of the show. What is a movie that is not very good? You know it's not very good, and yet you love watching it. I have a ton of them, but I settled on Tango and Cash. To me, the movie's awful. It's terrible. And yet, anytime it's on, I can't stop watching it. It's my Tango and Cash, and there's a reason for this. So I'm going to keep notes on all of these. So let me know in the comments and the chat section. All right, let's bring on Jesse. Jesse, congratulations. I mean, first off, congratulations. You crushed in college football over the weekend. So first off, congratulations. Sweep? Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I put out 6 videos on all platforms last week, and they all came in. We even got Hawaii as a 7-point home dog, winning outright. I was a little bit disappointed that Penn State couldn't win outright, but we got the cover. A 6-0 sweep is always nice, so it felt good.
Well, I'm glad Penn State didn't win outright, being the IU fan that I am. So let's start with college football. You have two teams that you're fade, and you're going to the same part of the country here, Virginia, West Virginia. Let's start with Virginia. Why are we fading Virginia this week?
Well, a lot of the sharps were against Virginia last week. They were playing Wake Forest. Everybody says Virginia's a fraud. I wasn't quite as enthusiastic about that take heading into the Wake Forest game because who the hell is Wake Forest anyways, and sure enough, Virginia loses that game, but would they have lost that game if Chandler Morris didn't get hurt in the first half? He got hit by not one, but 2 Wake defenders as he was sliding. Both of them probably should have been tossed. I haven't heard an update on Chandler Morris, the UVA quarterback, yet. He may play, he may not. This line to me looks like it's sort of middled. I think it goes up and over 7 if he's out, and it comes down to 5.5, 5 if he's announced to be playing. But yeah, we have an 8-2 Virginia team against a 5-4 Duke team, but strength of schedule, as our producer Dan was mentioning, is always key. And according to Sagarin, Virginia's played the 61st strength of schedule, while Duke has played the 39th. And offensively, these teams just don't match up. Duke has the number 1 pass offense in the ACC, 313 passing yards per game. Darian Mensah, probably the best quarterback in the ACC. And without Morris, Virginia's got no hope of keeping up. Even with Morris, if you look at the last 4 games, this offense has averaged fewer than 20 points against the likes of Washington State, North Carolina, Cal, and Wake. Duke doesn't have much of a defense, but certainly a step up in class here. And speaking of Chandler Morris, whether he plays or not, let's look at his home-away splits. He's completing 69% of his passes at home, 64% on the road. He's got 9 touchdowns at home, 3 on the road, 3 picks at home, 2 on the road, averaging 8.5 yards per attempt at home and 6 yards per attempt on the road. This is a tough spot for a Virginia team that's inflated based on the record against poor teams. We're going to take Duke, baby, -6.
All right. Well, the bet was that
the Ohio State. Is that right? Is that Ryan Day?
Gross. This is so gross. All right. So the bet was If IU didn't cover, then I had to wear a shirt and a hat from somebody else, and my next door neighbor is one of the biggest Ohio State fans on the planet. But I will say, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it
You
does
do
kind
look like
of
Ryan
resemble.
Day in that outfit.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I just listen. It's fun that I can actually talk to my Ohio State friends about football now. It's a big win for me here. So I'm very happy about this. All right, let's move to West Virginia here, Jesse. Why are we fading West Virginia?
West Virginia simply just isn't a very good team, Andy. They're coming off back-to-back wins, feel-good wins, sure. They didn't look that good against Colorado, I gotta say. I did bet on West Virginia last week at home against Colorado. They let the Buffaloes hang around in that game with their freshman quarterback. Their defense didn't impress me. Now they're on the road at Arizona State. I really don't know what West Virginia has to play for. I mean, technically, you look at they're sitting on 4 wins. They got 2 games left. They could become bowl eligible. But the only way you can roll with that theory is if you believe that they believe they can go into Texas Tech and win in their final game of the season. And I don't think that's happening. Nobody's beaten Texas Tech in the Big 12 anymore. That ship has sailed. But if you look at the Big 12 standings, aside from Texas Tech, you got BYU and Cincinnati both at 5-1. And then you've got 3 teams with 2 losses. That's Houston, Utah, and Arizona State. It's not over for Arizona State. Dillingham said this in his recent press conference. There's still a path, and it would be so appropriate in this conference with all the chaos in the Big 12. For example, the 2 teams that are sitting ahead of them in the standings, BYU and Cincinnati, they play each other next week. They both have challenging games on this week's schedule. These teams are probably going to lose a game or 2 before the season's done. And you look at Arizona's State's schedule, they've got winnable games against West Virginia, Colorado, and Arizona. Now, they do have a pretty poor quarterback in Jeff Sims, who really struggled at Nebraska. He was flat out brutal. He's not very great at throwing the ball. He is a senior, though. He has experience. In his last start at Iowa State, he ran for 228 yards, 2 touchdowns on 29 carries. I would expect him to be running the ball here again on West Virginia. I just think West Virginia, one of the worst defenses in the Big 12 on the road, coming off back-to-back feel-good wins. It's time for a letdown. I'll take Arizona State minus 11.5.
All right. I can't disagree with any of those, so I don't think you and I are going head-to-head this week. But we do have this interesting NBA matchup between the Grizzlies and the Knicks that you're going to break down for us. I get this Ja Morant thing is absolutely bizarre. Like, he clearly doesn't want to be here. You have Kevin Durant talking to Ja Morant's dad saying, your son doesn't even want to be here past the weekend. But they play tonight, and Ja is playing. He's shooting the ball a lot. He's not making a whole lot of them. But how do you break down the Grizzlies and the Knicks tonight?
Yeah, Ja Morant, 11 points on 3 of 18 shooting against Oklahoma City. He clearly doesn't give a rat's ass. No way I could have Memphis here just getting single digits. If I was taking the side, it would have to be the Knicks or pass. Total sits at 231.5. Grizzlies probably aren't intending to play much defense. Knicks are 6-0 at home. They're on a 4-game winning streak. I got to look to the player prop market, and I got to look to my man, Josh Hart. I gave out Josh Hart in a player prop a couple weeks back. Didn't work out well. His first 4 games of the season, he was absolutely brutal. He wasn't getting a lot of playing time. He wasn't very productive. However, over his last 4 games, 13.8 points per game, 7.8 rebounds per game. I'm looking at over 15.5 points and rebounds for Josh Hart. Now, I mentioned the last 4 games. If you look at his home-away splits, all 4 of those games were home games, by the way, but just look at his home-away splits, and the difference is stark. Just road to home, 9 rebounds per game at home so far this season. You got the center, Mitch Robinson, listed as questionable. He hasn't been able to play 20 minutes in his last 3 games. He's been banged up, playing low minutes, which opens up more time for Josh Hart. There's only 4 teams in the NBA that allow more fantasy points to power forwards than Memphis. The Grizzlies are allowing opposing power forwards to average 24.5 points and 11 rebounds per game. Now, Josh Hart's not the biggest guy, maybe a borderline power forward, but that's the position the Knicks like to use him at. He is capable of pulling in those rebounds. The home away splits don't lie. The number's a little low. So Josh Hart over 15.5 points and rebounds.
All right. I love the breakdown. And before we went live, I told you guys, you need a movie that is it's not very good, and you love watching it. And you said, "Oh, that's easy." So that's yours.
It popped in my head immediately. I didn't have to think about it. It's a B movie, a B comedy made 20 years ago or something. It's Idiocracy with Luke Wilson. It was meant to be a comedy, but now when you watch it, it's like a documentary. It's like predicting the future. It's so goddamn accurate predicting the future. Have you seen the movie?
No, I haven't. This is awesome.
Absolutely must do. Idiocracy with Luke Wilson. Load that one up. It's life changing. It'll blow your mind.
Oh, wow.
It's an absolute metaphor for what has happened to the planet over the last 20 years.
All right. Idiocracy
And
is
it's a
going on the
movie comedy.
list. Oh, man. Okay, Idiocracy's going on the list. We got a lot of good ones. Yes, love the Ohio State. About time you represent someone. This is my buddy who gave me
next year Halloween. I want to
hat.
see you wear that checkered suit coat that he wears and dress up as Ryan Day for Halloween. I think you could pull it off.
I could pull it off. Be careful, man. I own your shirt and hat now for the next hour, so there's no telling what condition it's going to come back to you in. Jesse, congratulations on the sweep. What do you have up for everybody? It's $5 Tuesday.
So I got a $5 play in the NHL that I really like. A really interesting scheduling spot for the hockey, and I'm 7-1 with my last 8 college football. My 5% play last week was Kentucky. They won 38-6 or something over Florida as an underdog. I've got a 5% play up for next week already. 5 straight winning Saturdays. You want to grab that weekend warrior package and get all those college football and NFL on Sunday. That's definitely the best bang for your buck.
That's incredible, man. 5 winning Saturdays in a row. Incredible streak, Jesse. That's really, really good. So, Jesse Schule, take advantage of $5 Tuesday. Thank you very much for the breakdown, and thank you very much for solving my Halloween costume for next year. This is going to be an
Don't forget to watch that movie.
And Idiocracy. Yes, absolutely. Jesse Schule, everybody, thank you very much. We got some incredible movie submissions. We got Tango and Cash, The Longest Yard, Commando, Tropic Thunder, Black Dog, Pineapple Express, How High, Super Bad, Life. This was Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. Ernest, Scared Stupid. I didn't see an Ernest movie being submitted. Idiocracy, Hot Tub Time Machine, and Shooter. So the theme is a movie that's not very good, but you can't. Rob, you don't think Point Break is very good? I think the movie's incredible. Oh, wow. Shots fired at Point Break. Man, all right, let's bring on Bryan Power. Let's see if he has a movie that is not very good, but he loves watching. Bryan, do you have one?
I guess you don't get to be. I guess you don't get to be president today, Andy. Right? Yeah, Point Break was good back in the day. I don't know. It's been a long time since I saw. I don't get into that remix. All those remakes stink, but the original I enjoyed back then. I see somebody dropped Commando in the chat. That is one. So I would say this: if you don't want to watch the whole movie, just watch the opening scene, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger just inexplicably carrying a tree back home, and then there's this horrible forced interplay with him and his daughter in the movie where he picks up the newspaper and starts talking current events. It's a ridiculous opening 3 minutes to the movie. Always makes me laugh. I may actually watch it after I'm done here with you, Andy. I may go watch it now. Make me laugh every time.
See, that's what we're talking about here. So, all right, Bryan, we're going to break down. Boy, you get NFL, you get college basketball, you get NBA. Let's start to marquee game of the night in the NBA, Warriors versus Thunder. It looks like, for the most part, teams are going to be playing everybody. Dort is going to be out for the Thunder. He's still dealing with that injury, but pretty good game here. Warriors and Thunder. The Thunder just keep on rolling. No pun intended here. Does the Thunder roll tonight?
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say about OKC, Andy? They're 10-1, outscoring opponents by a league best 13.6 points per game. Each of the last 5 wins have been by double digits. Let's note, however, okay, obviously the NBA is a game of runs often. The Thunder did trail Memphis by 11 at halftime on Sunday, but SGA led a big second half rally, finished with a team high 35. Golden State also had Monday off. They too are coming off a double-digit win. Beat the Pacers 114-83, and they did so, Andy, despite shooting only 27.3% from three. Of course, Indiana, they were shorthanded going into that game as well. I don't need to tell you, it's been a really poor start to the season for the Pacers, which was largely anticipated. The good news for the Warriors tonight, gang, is Steph Curry expected to return. He's missed the last 3 games due to illness. You would think his presence alone would bump up the three-point shooting, but here's the bad news for Golden State. Not only are you facing the Thunder, you're doing so on the road. Warriors are just 1-5 on the highway so far. OKC, meanwhile, has won each of its 4 home games. I realize OKC, they don't have Dort, they don't have Wiggins, and of course, Jalen Williams has yet to play this season. However, it just has not mattered, Andy. I would lay it here. These are not your older brothers' Warriors. I'm looking at the bet splits. You know, Golden State's getting a lot of this number's holding steady. Oklahoma City is just simply a much better team. It would take, you know, a bad night from 3 or a lot of turnovers or just something unforeseen. It's just very hard to make a case not to play OKC at the current number.
Yeah, this is just a freight train I don't want to get in the way of. I actually had the nerve to come on camera and say they might struggle out of the gate. My God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, look, I mean, it's in the modern NBA, you'd expect that, right? Teams to sleepwalk a lot. I mean, this is this one sport where the regular season, doesn't matter a ton, but they're out for blood. And the West is tough this year. So, they can't relax too much if they want the top seed. There's a lot of, obviously, Denver's very good. Houston's very good. San Antonio, much better than expected. So, OKC, they can't take too many nights off if they want to stay in that number 1 position.
Yeah, agreed. That West is just, my gosh, those teams got to be like, God, could one of us go over there in the East, please? Yeah. Just one of us go over in the East, please.
Like 2003 all over again. Please, can we?
Yeah, it really is. Let's move to college basketball. I think it's a tough part of the year, but we've had a lot of people say, hey, if you follow these teams, you have all the advantage because the books have no clue about these teams. So talk to us about Kentucky and Louisville. What do you know about these 2 teams? What's their roster makeup, and how are we breaking down this game tonight?
Well, first things first, if you want to know more about college basketball, guys, there's a great place to go. Full Court Press, 10 a.m. Eastern, live here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Myself, Adam Trigger, and Rob Vino, every Monday through Friday, again, 10 a.m. Eastern, breaking down the entire college slate. We go an hour. We take your questions. Obviously, we talk all the big games, but any games you guys want to get, I see some familiar names in the chat right here that joined us today. Always appreciated. Thanks for tuning in. So that's where you'll get your big college basketball fix each and every day. We did obviously lead by talking about this Kentucky-Louisville game and the story here, Andy. Before I even get into the breakdown, if you guys don't have the odds screen up right now, the big story is the line movement. Bettors love Louisville here. They've moved from 3.5 to 6.5. They love the over, which has moved from 166.5 to 174. There have been crazy moves on these early season college basketball totals, Andy. And more often than not, the moves are right. There was a game on opening night we were marveling at on Full Court Press. Ohio State took on IU Indy. The total moved by 10 points, and it still went over by 1 million. It was a game where there were NBA games that featured less scoring than that one on that particular night. But I'll share my thoughts on the line movement in just a minute, but just here's how the matchup looks. First time since 2019 that both these teams come into the matchup ranked. It's a triple revenge spot for Louisville playing at home. Kentucky has won 8 of the previous 10 meetings overall. Of course, more pertinent for our discussion here, Wildcats 7-2-1 against the spread in those last 10 meetings. Last year, failed to cover. UK did. They only won 93-85 as 10-point chalk. Shot the lights out. Kentucky did last year, 58% overall, 52% from 3. Lamont Butler didn't miss a single field goal attempt. Finished with 33, in case you forgot. Of course, that was in Lexington, though. Tonight, games at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville. It's going to be the first true road game for Kentucky. Wildcats have smashed each of their first 2 games, 77-51 over Nichols, 107-59 over Valpo. Hard to learn much Obviously, Andy, from a couple games where you have a 30-point favorite winning easily both times. Basically, Kentucky did what you'd expect. This is a team that scored 100 or more 6 times last season. No Trent Noah against Valpo is worth noting. He tweaked his ankle in the opener. I don't have an update whether or not Noah's going to play tonight, but considering the Wildcats have 7 guys averaging in double figures so far, if Noah were to be out again, I'm not sure it's a huge deal that should affect the handicap too much. Now, Louisville, similar to Kentucky, has had an easy time their first 2 games. They have shot 72% from 2-point range so far. Now, that was against South Carolina State and Jackson State, teams they were able to put up triple digits against. This is the first time in the last 5 seasons Louisville has started 2-0. Hadley missed the last game for Louisville. He was in concussion protocol. Check his status. Make sure to do that. He was the lone returning starter from last year's team. But Pryor, back from an ACL injury for Louisville, he missed most of it last year. Head coach Pat Kelsey said this about Pryor. He will, quote, take us to a whole other level this season. Overall, I like this Louisville team, Andy. The market seems to agree, obviously, as I mentioned at the opening. And what's interesting here, higher ranked team, Kentucky, taking points, yet the line is moving in Louisville's direction. I assumed, and maybe still do, that the public is going to be on Kentucky here. They are number 1 in the Ken Palm rankings for what that's worth. I wanted to come on here, tell everyone to back Louisville, but this line movement, I don't know, man. Now you're talking they have to win by 2 possessions. So my official lean here, alternate way to play Louisville, team total over 90.5. To beat Kentucky, you need to put up a big point total. I talked about this was a team that scored triple digits 6 times last season. So I think if Louisville, if you like the Louisville side, going over 90.5 would be the way to go now.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been talking about line moves, and boy, sometimes they just tell you everything you need to know. You don't even need to do the research. It's like there's other people doing the research for you, and they just let you know in those line moves. So I'm sure the books, if they see those line moves, they know they got the number wrong because, it only takes a few people to realize the number's off.
Yeah, I talked about this with Joe Ranieri, my good friend Joe Ranieri, for that matter, on the best betting show ever yesterday. We talked about in college football, that Texas Tech BYU game on Saturday, where I just couldn't believe that Texas Tech went off as a 13.5-point favorite. But to your point, Andy, the books were telling you all you needed to know there, that an undefeated BYU team was about to get smashed in Lubbock, and that is precisely what happened.
Let's move to the NFL. Actually, before we... What?
I know it's very unprofessional. I apologize, Andy, or those, but I'm looking at the chat. Somebody referred to Glenn Ross as a guilty pleasure. That's just a phenomenal movie. And that's not a bad movie. That's a phenomenal film. Imagine not loving Glenn Ross. That's if anyone out there in TV land hasn't seen Glenn Ross, change that this afternoon. That is a phenomenal film.
I got to tell you, Cocktail is just absolutely fantastic. That is a great call. That's the epitome of a bad movie that I will watch every single minute of over and over and over again. So one thing I will not watch over and over and over again is the Commanders and Dolphins over in Spain. This got added to the list of games that you're going to break down. Unfortunately, Chris forgot to put it in Slack. You have to do it in Spanish, just for the theme. So the floor is yours. No, I'm just kidding. You don't. But I did. I will say this: Este juego apesta.
Oh, very good, Andy.
Thank you very much. That Google tells me that is Spanish for this game stinks. Okay. We have Miami at -2.5, and the over under 47.5. My gosh. How do you break this game down?
Well, no hablo español, but I did come prepared with my La Liga mug. Barcelona here we're drinking out of. Now, this game takes place in their rival Real Madrid. Carmine's coming on after me, too. He's got to appreciate the mug. But this one's at the Santiago Bernabeu. Let's start, Andy, by discussing. Look, it is an ugly matchup. We all understand that. We need to start by discussing the Commanders' woeful defense. Last week, before Jared Goff got pulled with just under 7 minutes to go, the Commanders were letting Detroit gain 8.8 yards per play. That is just an atrocious number at the professional level. It ended up being the Commanders' 4th straight loss by 21 or more points, 5th straight loss overall. Interestingly, it was their second time losing by the exact score of 44-22. So it's kind of an odd score to lose by twice in a 4-week span. This is a pretty big fall from grace for a Commanders team that was in the NFC Championship game last January. Of course, we all understand Jaden Daniels has been hurt much of this season. Marcus Mariota hasn't been great, but it is the defense, Andy, that is killing the Commanders right now. 28th in points allowed, 30th in yards allowed. Head coach Dan Quinn is set to take over play calling duties now on that side of the ball. He's so disgusted. Payne is out, the defensive tackle, because he punched Amon-Ra St. Brown last week. But again, I mean, you look at this defense, how poorly they've been playing. I mean, if you lose a guy, is it really that big of a deal considering what they've done? So there's just not a ton of positives to speak on the Washington side. Meanwhile, Miami coming off their best performance of the season and one of the biggest upsets we've seen so far this NFL season, beating Buffalo 30-13. There really was not anything phony about it. Dolphins defense held the Bills to basically half of its season average in rush yards. Now, 3 Bills turnovers did help, guys. I understand that, especially considering all 3 of those turnovers, I believe, occurred on the Miami side of the field. Also worth noting, Miami did go into that game with a couple extra days to prepare. They'd played Thursday, of course, the previous week. Buffalo, I think you could argue, was in a clear letdown spot coming off the big win over Kansas City. I regret to inform all of you, however, after speaking so ill of Washington, that I am showing value on them here. I want to come on and tell you guys to put your hard-earned money on the Commanders playing an 11th consecutive week, not to mention overseas. This team desperately needs to get to the bye. That'll happen for them next week, but I simply cannot and will not back the Miami Dolphins as a favorite, Andy Lang. This is a team that's been favored previously 3 times. They've lost outright twice. At +3, I would have to strongly consider Washington here, as bad as they have been. If the line stays below 2, maybe throw Washington in a teaser. But Washington it would be Washington or pass, as disgusting as that is. And I apologize to everyone.
Listen, you were assigned the game. You did not pick the game.
Look, I mean, I have power ratings, and they just say the Miami Dolphins can't be favored. I understand. Sometimes, look, you can't be prisoners of the moment, okay? Your eye test will tell you that Washington is horrible, and I'll be honest. It's not good right now. But this is a Miami team, Andy. I don't need to tell you. I mean, people basically go into every week, is this Mike McDaniel's last game in charge?
Oh, what a world. What a world we live in. They're keeping it.
I don't disagree. Colin, in the chat, I don't disagree with that. Redskins, the Texans as the second leg of a possible teaser with the Commanders there.
Oh, all right, Brian, it's $5 Tuesday. What do you have up for everybody?
I don't have it up yet, but it will be up within 20 minutes after I'm done here. So if you're catching this on the replay, it will be up. Apologize. It's been a very busy morning for me, Andy. I'm dusting myself off. Unfortunately, guys, I didn't want to neglect this. I wanted to mention it. I'm sure someone's jumped to the chat and brought it up already. Tough 5% loss last night on Green Bay. I know Dan Alexander will be messaging me after the game, after this, mocking me. But look, if you would have told me beforehand that we were going to hold Philadelphia to 10 points.
Great pick, buddy. Well done. Yeah, fade the team that's now 6-0 off the bye, 10-0 against the NFC North. The floor is yours, Brian.
Outgained in their first 7 games. This team's more like 2 years ago than last year, Dan.
Yeah, but they don't have Sean besides their defensive coordinator. They have a future Hall of Famer in Vic Fangio, to be fair.
Make note of that moving forward. I think this Eagles team is a fraud, Andy. I don't care what Dan says. But Green Bay, look, if you would have told me that we were going to hold Philadelphia to 10 points before the game, I would have said, well, I don't need to watch this. We're going to win. But what a hideous offensive performance that was. Matt LaFleur, what are you doing? What a conservative game plan. Anyway, we're going to have a $5 play. That's what you asked me about, Andy. I apologize. $5 play is going to be in college football, where we're on a 7-2 run. We did cash our best bet on Saturday with Nebraska against UCLA. I didn't care that Dylan Raiola was out. I thought Nebraska being an underdog to UCLA was really just ridiculous. So we took Nebraska. They covered wire to wire, and it is Maction. I know the MAC well, Andy. I don't know if you know this. I am one of the more famous Mid-American Conference graduates in the United States of America today. So I know the conference well. As a matter of fact, $5 Tuesday last week, I had my alma mater, OU, against Miami. So let's see if we can do it again here, WT.buzz/BP.
Bryan Power, Bringing the heat. Thank you so much, Brian. Great work. Great breakdowns as always. Bryan Power, you can find him over at WagerTalk. It is $5 Tuesday. Try out as many handicappers as you want. Each handicapper can put up a play for $5. I'm going right back to my bread and butter. I have an NBA prop that is up for $5 and an NHL prop that is up for $5. Coming off a slightly profitable night. Last night went 4-3. But again, we keep telling you props is where it's at. That's what I do. It's what I specialize in. Nice night in the NBA. So we're looking to cash again. I got a play that I absolutely love. So go grab that. Again, try out as many handicappers as you want. Bet responsibly. We don't want too much of your bankroll on these plays, but there's plays in just about every sport up there, guys. You got college basketball. You got college football. You got NFL. You got plays on sports that are going tonight in NBA, NHL. So grab as many as you want. Try a new handicapper. Try your favorite handicapper, but great time to load up on some plays. So NBA best bets up for me. NHL best bet as well. Yanni is not here, so a couple people asked, hey, can you do a little Steam report when he's gone? Yes, I do not see too much going on. I see a little bit of movement in the Ohio Western Michigan college football game today. Ohio opened as the favorite, Western Michigan now the favorite. Akron has moved from 5.5 on the opening number. There's 7s popping up, so if you want to bet on Akron, I would go ahead and do that ASAP. And in college basketball, I don't see anything in the NBA except for Toronto's taking money. They're playing Brooklyn, so it does make sense. The Brooklyn team's really bad. There was a big movement in an over-under. Yes, the under in Memphis, New York, open 235. I see 230.5s popping up, so that's a 4.5-point line movement. And then big move in college basketball tonight, Michigan against Wake Forest. Michigan opened up a minus 11.5. They have pounded that thing up to 16. So we've been talking about these line moves, and these line moves, like Brian said, there's been a couple that have been really, really good sources of information. So keep an eye on these line moves. You can get them over at Odds Logic. There's a free version over on WagerTalk.com. Really, really important to keep track of some of these lines. I will be keeping track of these UFC lines as well. Let's bring in Carmine. We're going to break down a couple NFL games. Then I'll break down Pacers, Jazz, and we'll go all around the world. But let's bring in Carm. Carm, thank you for stepping up on short notice.
Not a problem.
Do you have a movie that's not very good that you just love watching?
Normally I would say Gotti with John Travolta, but I got to tell you, I was bored once and during the afternoon, and I'm like looking at the movies. I'm like, oh, John Henry, and I thought it was the horse racing version of John Henry, the horse. Until like about 10 minutes in, and it's Terry Crews and Ludacris, which have nothing to do with horse racing whatsoever. And it was just the worst movie you could watch. So not very good. It's about like a normal guy who has like a violent past, kind of like our producer Dan Alexander.
Right. Yes, that sounds like Dan, a violent past. Well, let's break down a couple of these games tonight. We got the Leafs, Bruins, Ducks, and Avs. You know the Leafs probably better than just about anybody. So talk to us about these two teams and what you think is going to happen tonight.
Yeah, this one's one would look at it as it's a rapid revenge spot for the Leafs. These two just played in Toronto. The Leafs played flat in that one. The Bruins, the Leafs played soft in that one. The Bruins winning that game 5-3. The expected goals were exactly 8.00, and I think expected goals can give you a look into the future of how teams are playing, how they played in the past, and how they might score in the future. It's something I used last night for the Rangers game in the over, and that finished with 9 goals in that one. But you've got the Leafs here, and the Bruins are on a great run at home, 6 straight wins, and yet they're an underdog at home, plus 115, because people are thinking the same thing. The Leafs are going to win on the road in a revenge spot. But I think you got to look at this another way. The Leafs right now, they've only played 4 road games. They've lost 3 of those 4 games. They're not a team I want to be playing right now, just because it just seems they lack the leadership role right now. What you can look at is the total here. It sits at 6.5. The Leafs are 14-2 this season to the over. If you're not making money betting the Leafs overs, I don't know what you're doing or what you're missing. 4-0 on the road, Leaf overs with an average of 8.25 goals scored per game. And then if you wonder about the Bruins are having a pretty good season. They're overachieving right now. And you can look at their team total. The Bruins on the season, their team total is normally around 2.5 goals per game. They're 12-5, but an even better 8-2 to their team total at home. And as I mentioned, those are normally 2.5s for the Bruins, who aren't a high-scoring team, but are finding the back of the net. It's Stollarts tonight and Swayman. I think both goalies are confirmed, and Swayman was pulled for the very first time in his Leafs career against the Bruins. So the Leafs averaging 3.5 goals on the road. I think the over is the play here, over 6.5.
Nice. I know the Stollarts prop to go over his saves has been a pretty good one this year. Might look at that one. I don't know. I have to research how much Boston gets shots to the net here. Ducks and the Avs. What do we have? I don't even know what's going on with the Ducks. I think I haven't watched 1 second of a Ducks game. If I have, it's because I was watching the other team.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of like what I'm going to be doing tonight, watching the game, but because I'm watching the other team. And I'll get to that free play in a second. But who would have thought that at this point of the season, 16, 17 games into the season, that the Ducks and the Avs would be playing for first place in the Western Conference. Now, you might have thought the Avs, yes, but the Ducks were not on my bingo card. They're having a very good season thus far. I think they've won 9 of their last 10 games. Obviously, the coaching change to Joel Quenneville. And then I think the offseason move in getting Trevor Zegras out of that organization, I think he was a negative to them. I think the guy wasn't very well liked in Anaheim. He just a little arrogant, and it's a different attitude with this Ducks team. A lot of speed. They're very exciting to play. But when I look at this game, I always try and find a market within a game in which I think is bettable, because the Avs are a little too high for me. And I'm not so certain that Anaheim can go into Colorado and beat them. The Avs are like 7-1 their last 8 games, last 8 meetings, but this is a different Ducks team. But if you look at first periods, last season, Colorado was the 3rd worst team in the NHL. Minus 20.33 units in the first period. They just started slow. It was something that they needed to change, and they've changed it this year. 7-3-6 and profitable to the first period. Not the over, the first period. And the Ducks, in 9 away games, they have yet to hold a lead after 20 minutes. They are 0-2-7. I'm taking the Avs here, but I'm laying the puck, the half a puck, and taking the plus 120. So Avs to get off to a good start here. This is a team that is fresh off a 9-1 win in Edmonton and then a 5-4 OT win in Vancouver, in a spot where they could have very well bounced but didn't.
It's a great look. Johnny Detroit is joining us. It says Travolta's either a stud or bust. This is a guy that's done Saturday Night Fever and Pulp Fiction. He also did Gotti and Battlefield Earth.
Yeah, Gotti. He just didn't portray Gotti correctly, as far as I'm concerned. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he made him look like a gangster. He's just an Italian immigrant trying to sell his olive oil, fruit, and deli meats. And they put a negative spin on him, made him look like a gangster. So I don't know what it is with picking on Italians.
Somebody clip that and put that out on social media. That's a great take from me.
Do not tag John. Do not tag John Travolta in that one, please.
No.
So,
no. All right, Carm, it's $5 Tuesday. Tell everyone what you have up.
Yeah, a $5 play as in the NHL. If you pick up that play, you'll get a coupon code for, I have a 5% NHL play that's going tonight, back-to-back 5% NHL winners, and coming off a pretty rocking chair winner on Sunday Night Football with the LA Chargers. So 5% are running well. You can get that over at WagerTalk on my page. So you pick up the $5 play and you will get a $10 off coupon for the 5% NHL play. That's pretty much it for me. I'm gearing up for World Cup qualifying on Thursday, and a huge slate of NHL this week as well too.
Carmine Bianco, always jumping in last second to help us out. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. Good luck on that $5
Thanks
play.
for having me.
And yeah, we got World Cup qualifying coming up, guys. So there's money to be made in that. So, all right, Dan, we're gonna do all around the world, and then I'll break down Pacers Jazz. But what's your movie? Do you have a movie that?
I mean, the entire Adam Sandler catalog, specifically some of the newer films. Like, dude, I'll tell you what.
Wow.
You throw on Grown Ups. Grown Ups 2 is you're trending into unwatchable territory, but Grown Ups 1, where it's literally just them riffing, it's unbeatable. So I would argue, I mean, none of these movies are Oscar-winning gold, but the entire Adam Sandler catalog, man, throw those movies on, turn your brain off, and just enjoy. Okay, and the other ones, the other ones where you saw like Pineapple Express, like those stoner comedies are amazing. I don't know if you ever saw This Is the End, where all of them are hanging out at James Franco's house, and then the end of the world happens. So bad that it's good. I've never laughed so hard in a theater than when I saw This Is the End. Superbad's just an incredible film. Superbad, I don't think qualifies here. For
This
a bad
Is the End
movie
is
that's great.
Yeah, This Is the End is great because it's terrible, and you just you're laughing, and you're like, why am I laughing? This is horrible.
And that's why I like Grown Ups too, because when it's just like seems like there's no script and people are riffing, I love that stuff, and like you can tell that people actually are enjoying what they're doing. So I bad movies that are good, Andy, sometimes are better than good movies that are pretentious, like Oscar gold. Sometimes I would rather throw on a bad movie that's just good.
Sharknado's a good one. So Dan, here's why I came up with this theme. Something that's bad that I love watching is your Eagles. I love watching your Eagles.
That's pretty funny.
It's just like
I didn't know that's where we were going. I didn't know that's where that was well done, Andy.
They are the Philadelphia Tango and Cashes because I cannot take my eyes off of your team, and it's like, how are they winning? Jalen Hurts can't hit an out route if his life depended on it. Saquon Barkley is running at half speed. And yet here they are. They're running the most bizarre strategy on fourth down at the end. The Packers haven't moved the ball at all. All you have to do is pin them deep, and they're throwing long bombs. I am here for it. I cannot take my eyes off of your team.
Yeah, I mean, having that offensive game plan with 2 weeks to repair is pretty crazy. I mean, testament to the Packers defense, but it had way more to do with decision making, I think, than the Packers defense. Jalen Hurts with a very bad game last night. And on that final play, Andy, was it the wrong decision? 1,000%. I mean, you punt that ball with how your defense is playing. However, if Hurts throws that ball a little bit to the outside, or if A.J. Brown makes any effort at getting that ball. I mean, A.J. Brown, there's a dude who's checked out. Jesus, it is A.J. Brown who does not want to be there. It's abundantly clear. But if there was a better throw or a little bit of effort, everyone's talking about, oh my God, what a gamer. He's just like Dan Campbell. He believes in his players. Like in the post-game press conferences, A.J. Brown said, I wasn't surprised at the play call. That's what we do. We're aggressive. Devontae Smith said the same thing. He said, that's our identity as a team. Our coach believes in us offensively. If they completed the pass, people aren't as loud, but when it doesn't get completed, it's the same thing that happened to Dan Campbell a couple of years ago when they fail on fourth down. What an idiot. What an asshole. But if they get the fourth down, it's brilliant. So wrong decision there, Andy. But the real thing for me with that team that makes them tango and cash is, was there a good one in tango and a bad one in cash? I've never seen it, because the tango and cash is the fact that you have Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator and Kevin Patullo as an offensive coordinator. Because there's one that's going to the Hall of Fame, and there's one that should be calling plays for the local high school. And that's abundantly clear. It's always Vic Fangio bailing out this team.
I mean, Tango and Cash, they have they set the two cops up, which is ridiculous in itself, and then they just get through a complete murder trial in a week. This thing would have taken 5 years. What are you talking about?
Here's one thing
that guy was awful.
Here's one thing that I will say, Andy, and I know we have some breakdowns coming up. We got all around the world, but Eagles are so bad but winning. Here's what I don't understand is are they a frustrating team? Sure, but I don't know how you can say that they're bad. I mean, they just held a team at home who scored at will against multiple other teams to 7 points at home. Like, we get so caught up in everything being fantasy, and I need my player prop overs to hit, and I need this. There's a defense on the field as well, and the Philadelphia Eagles defense is arguably one of the best, if not the best, outside of Seattle in the entire league right now. So there are two sides to the ball. The offense is really poor and very inconsistent and seems very disjointed. However, there's also another unit who comes out and constantly shuts down teams week after week after week. Real nice litmus test coming up against the Lions. Sharps have already bet the Eagles back up to 2.5. So the sharp bettors don't think that the Eagles are a bad team that just keep winning. I don't think they would be betting on them.
It's a good point. Last question before we do the breakdowns. Are you concerned that Shipley looks better than Saquon Barkley right now?
I mean, I was worried.
Is that of all concerning?
I was worried about it heading into the year. It's just older running back, gets all those carries, all that mileage. I think, again, it has a lot more to do with the injuries up front for the Philadelphia Eagles coupled with the play calling. Like last night, Lane Johnson kept going in and out of the game, in and out of the game. And what do? You keep running inside zone concepts, which is it's just not what you're supposed to do, especially you have a backup center in. Landon Dickerson isn't 100%. So the fact that they're so fixed on being a power running team when they're not built right now with the offensive line injuries to be a power running team, that's what's more frustrating to me than Saquon Barkley looking like he's entering the twilight of his career. But Andy, on that 41-yard catch that he had, he's still got some juice. You just have to get him into space.
Yeah, he just can't. He's got like 1 or 2 a game instead of like 4 or 5.
Exactly. And again, I think that has to do with the injuries up front and the fact that you have a revolving door of offensive linemen. Last year, they stayed healthy. They had great continuity. This year, it's not really there, coupled with the fact they don't have Kellen Moore scheming up plays. They have Kevin Padumas making up the plays. So.
Yes. All right. The Philadelphia Tango and Cashes. It's actually a great name. It's pretty good. Philadelphia Tango and Cashes. Let's get to work on that graphic and logo. Let's do all around the world. Let's break down some free plays and shout out to our good friend Titans. Titans in the chat. I lost a bet to him. I had the Bucks to cover against the Patriots. I was wrong. So Titans, you get a free 3-day pass, and getting it starting on Friday, we will get you hooked up. So put your WagerTalk username in the comments so I can get that set up. We got a big weekend. We got a 5% UFC play. We got our NFL props, NBA, NHL. So you picked a good week to win a bet against me. All right, let's do these. We got some props here, and then we got a spread. Look at Isaiah Joe over 11.5 points against the Warriors. He went under this total in his last game, but he was really, really good before that. He's shooting 54% from the field and over 50% from threes. Last game was his down game. I believe he was 2 of 10, 3 of 10 from the field, but we're going to come right back to him to play well. Dort is still out, so we'll keep playing Isaiah Joe over his points. Blue Jackets and Kraken. Kent Johnson, this guy's been great to us. Over 1.5 shots on goal. This guy's gone over in 7 out of 9 road games. He's had 4 shot attempts, 3 games in a row, and he's on the first power play line. Absolutely love him to keep going over 1.5 shots on goal for us. This is kind of one of those rinse and repeat plays. Even if it loses once, you go right back to it. And then Celtics at 76ers. This one comes from the WagerTalk free picks page. Celtics +3 on the road. Boston's gotten better last 3 games, gone from 16th to 7th offensive efficiency. Meanwhile, Philly has dropped. They've gone from 6th to 14th. So Kevin Dolan likes the Celtics +3 tonight. That is all around the world. Now let's do a quick little breakdown of the Pacers and the Jazz. Indiana Pacers face the Utah Jazz tonight. Pacers are actually favored here by -2.5, and we got an over-under that I'm not too concerned with because I like my Pacers tonight, even though they're 1-9. Here's the deal. They're getting healthy. This team that they had been playing with was a skeleton team. We talked about this, that all the players that have been out for the Pacers literally would be a pretty good NBA team. You have Halliburton, you have TJ McConnell, you have Obi Toppin, Neesmith was out. But here's the thing. They're getting Neesmith back. They're getting Siakam back. McConnell has been upgraded from out to questionable, so we may see him. And this is a team, a front office, a coaching staff, and a group of players that just don't want to tank. They have openly talked about this. They're not coming in this to try and get a number one pick. Now, they're off to a good start with their record, but this is a team that's going to fight, and they're playing a Utah Jazz team that's 1-7 their last 8 games. They've dipped to 24th in defensive efficiency, 25th in offensive efficiency, and it's yet another rebuild again for Utah. Here we go again. So I'm going to take the Pacers and this points minus 2.5. I think the Pacers, don't be surprised if they have a lot of success against some of these other bad teams. They're not as bad when they're healthy, and this Jazz team just is not very good. A couple of props here. Nurkic, under half a made 3. This is a stat that's going to blow your mind. He's attempting just over 2 3-point attempts per game. He's shooting 12% from threes. Like Why do they keep letting him shoot? The man's shooting 12% of his 3-pointers, and he's taking multiple per game. So take him to not have a 3-pointer. Neesmith, over 4.5 rebounds. You're getting this at +1 money. He only had one last game against Denver. Denver's a great rebounding team, and he played lower minutes in that one. He's back fresh from injury. Before that game, he had 7, 7, and 6. Utah is 24th, allowing rebounds to small forwards. So we're looking at Nurkic to not make a 3, and we're looking at Neesmith over 4.5 rebounds as your props for this game. Once again, $5 play is up in the NBA. We're off to an absolutely fantastic start in NBA, and we are up 14 units in props just in the month of November. You can get that over at WagerTalk.com or use the shortcut WT.buzz/AL. Number 1 in NBA props over the last 2 seasons. We also have an NHL prop that is up for $5 as well. Props is where I make my money. It's how we build a bankroll. We've been talking this for a long time. So partner up and let's cash on $5 Tuesday. Great job, everyone in the chat. This list of movies is just fantastic. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. I got to pick a couple of these and have these on in the background. So great job in the chat. Leave a comment in the comment section if we missed one of these movies, and I might get to work on this logo. So, all right, we're going to be back tomorrow. Same time, noon Eastern. Make sure you hit the like button. Great show today. If we didn't earn a like today, come on. What are we doing here? All right, we'll see everyone tomorrow. Good luck on your $5 Tuesday bets. Take care.